Politics, we know, can be brutal. Sometimes politicians deliver a clip round the year. Sometimes they're at the receiving end. But things get especially nasty when all of it is captured on camera. And something similar has happened in France, where a slapgate involving the president has become a moment of political reckoning. Lawmakers across the ideological spectrum are saying that French democracy has been targeted. Let's tell you what happened. Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, was on a 6-week political tour. He was in the city of Valence to meet local students, to talk to them about their lives and aspirations. Now, during a walkabout, he approached onlookers waiting behind a metal fence. He shook hands with a man in a green t-shirt who grasped Macron's right hand and slapped him across the left cheek and yelled, "Down with Macronism." It's a term used in the French media to describe Emmanuel Macron's presidency. Watch this.
Oh! Oh!
Un petit coup. Oula, viens là. Oh non, ils sont cons quoi. Oh non, mais n'importe quoi. N'importe quoi.
The motives of the attacker are unknown. He's said to be 28 years old. He has no previous police record. He's been detained. Meanwhile, French politicians are fuming. From the Prime Minister to opposition leaders, even Macron's arch rivals like Marine Le Pen have called this attack intolerable, reprehensible, an affront to democracy and a blow to French institutions. They say there can be no place for physical assaults in France, especially not on the president. Well, they're right. Physical assaults are unacceptable, and yet Macron is not the first leader to be subjected to a physical attack like this. World leaders and politicians have a history of being targeted by angry agitators. Here's a report.
Those in power are bound to become targets. Sometimes they have to deal with bitter verbal put-downs. Sometimes they have to roll with the blows. But the connecting thread is that these events have long-lasting and staggering consequences. In July 1987, the former Prime Minister of India, Rajiv Gandhi, was inspecting a guard of honor in Colombo when a Sinhala Navy officer made an attempt on his life with a rifle butt. Watch how. The Prime Minister ducked and escaped. The perpetrator was instantly restrained. He was court-martialed and sentenced to 6 years in prison, but received a presidential pardon within 2.5 years. He also went on to contest the 2000 Sri Lankan general elections. The year was 2008. US President George W. Bush was on a trip to Baghdad when an Iraqi journalist took off his shoes and one by one lobbed them at Bush's head, calling it a farewell kiss from the Iraqi people. The president swiftly ducked both shoes. The journalist was sentenced to 3 years in prison, but was released after 9 months for good behavior, only to have a shoe thrown at him at a 2015 press conference in Paris. 2011, the chief of India's Nationalist Congress Party, who was then the Union Minister for Agriculture, was slapped by a Sikh man who blamed him for rising prices of essential commodities. The attacker went missing for 8 long years. He was finally nabbed in 2019 and put in prison for escaping the law. 2013, former Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard was visiting a school in Canberra, but did not receive the welcome she expected. Ms. Gillard was almost hit by a sandwich. She laughed it off by saying that some student must have thought she was hungry. But not every leader could laugh it off. 2018, Jair Bolsonaro, who was slowly emerging as the presidential frontrunner, was attacked with a knife during an election campaign. The attack was serious. Bolsonaro was hospitalized for 3 weeks. His attacker was identified as a permanent delusional paranoid man, which prevented him from being legally liable for his actions. They say, with great power comes great responsibility. But no one ever said that slaps, shoes and ink come complimentary. Bureau Report, WION. World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.